Legacy Blitzwing has always been a controversial figure on many levels. Already he had way too much to prove, coming off the back of one of Titan Return's best molds, as well as two brilliant triple changes before him. We don't talk about that one. Honestly, from the get-go, I don't think there was ever a chance he'd be able to outdo that pedigree. We had a tank mode that was dense, chunky, fantastically detailed, but with a massive chode sticking out the front. The reasoning was understandable, mimicking the G1 cartoon, where they accidentally based the Sunmo model on a mistransformed copy of the toy with the turret on backwards. But even then, it was far bigger than it was ever depicted outside of maybe a few of the advertisements. The jet mode was decent from the top, but a mess otherwise. Sure, every triple changer has one bung mode, but given the sacrifices made elsewhere for the sake of accuracy, people's patience was very much stretched thin. And the robot mode was fine, but it didn't really feel significantly better than the previous outing, aside from some minor updates to articulation. I liked it, but I never really loved it, especially after finally getting the Titan's Return rendition. This is definitely one of those cases where they just should have used the same conversion scheme, just with better articulation. Point is, I always wanted to love Blitzwing, but the base mold wasn't going to give me that. So of course, leave it up to to bring the brilliance out this thing always had under the hood. The fact they're able to do two different shades of grey that both skirt the edges of Games Workshop grey but don't fall into the abyss is honestly kinda crazy. And the army green really works with the stockier proportions this figure has. They've really gone to town on this new deco, and it accentuates the mechanical detail wonderfully. Of course, it's elevated by the extra blue, but even in stock, this is way more engaging than Blitzwing ever was. Now, admittedly, the jet mode looks a bit plain, even more so than Blitzwing's ever did. The grey is just way too much, even if it does help cover a lot of the junk underneath in these new colors. But with upgrades, honestly, it's quite gorgeous. It's still nowhere near as good as the previous Voyager, but as said earlier, every triple changer has one bung mode. As mentioned earlier, it does hide under the bits better with these colors. And above all else, it's very swooshable. Is that not the most important aspect of a jet mode? The swooshability of it all? And this tank mode easily has to be one of the best the trilogy has to offer, even if some of the figures it's up against are a bit leaning fully into the green, supplementing it with extra mechanical detail and going ham on the chunkiness. This is where I fell in love with this figure. Not the upgrades, not the engineering, not what this figure eventually became, what this figure initially was with this tank. Either way, this was a wonderful surprise at Legacy's end, both for the end of the trilogy and an extra inclusion for the buddies. I never expected them to do this, nor did I expect this release to blow me away to the point where I'm half tempted to sell off Blitzwing, but here we are. And that's just another great thing about this trilogy, the surprises around every corner. You never know what the next wave would be unless you'd looked at the leaked listings. So many wacky experiences in a lovely buffet, and most of it's of an immense high quality. That's really what Overcharge represents, and it's a big reason why I think he's pretty rad, aside from the fact that he's rad as a figure as well.